Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joji Movie So Awesome. I'm Joe.
I'm Won-Jin.
Today we are going to talk about Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Full spoilers ahead. You have been warned. Please come back later after you watch the movie. Here we go. You know, Won-Jin, let me go first.
Okay.
You know that feeling you get when you look at a mannequin? That's how I felt about watching this movie.
What do you mean?
It's like a imitation of a human being.
Ah.
But you know, listen. After I watched it, I want to say this is trash. But, after thinking about it, I realized that it wasn't that bad. It just wasn't, there's nothing new. It felt like I was watching an 80s movie in 2023. And it checks all the boxes. You know that? Everything in Indiana Jones, the old one we loved. Except, it just felt like an imitation. And and another problem was I hated the CG.
Okay.
Like,
I know what you mean.
From start to finish, I did not like the CG because it just felt like there was nothing at stake. Like even the horse, I think was CG. You know that scene where they're in this parade?
Yeah, and he rides a horse down.
It was just so
into
noticeable.
the subway.
And once you know it's CG, it just kind of like, listen. Some movies, the bad CG actually helps. Because it's like watching a comic book, right?
Yeah.
But here, I just felt like nothing was at stake. And even when, another problem was the villains. Like, they were not compelling at all. Like, I felt sorry for Mikkelsen, because you remember, because he was in Casino Royale. Listen, this is why...
As Lucifer.
Yeah, this is why presentation is very important. Like, his screen time was just as short. But in Casino Royale, he was a compelling villain. You know why? Because they gave him a little bit of humanity, and then kind of made him a mirror image of the 007. And here, nothing felt like it was on stake. Well, you can jump in anytime you want. Are you silent because all you have to say is this is trash? Let's end this podcast.
Well, I have to say that first of all, we have to make sure that people know that I'm a huge fan of the Indiana Jones franchise. Yeah, I got posters here. I mean, you will probably see it if you're here, but it's right there. And I have loved those 80s movies where Steven Spielberg was involved, like Back to the Future. I mean, the director is Robert Zemeckis, but Steven Spielberg produced that movie. Indiana Jones, again, Spielberg and George Lucas, he also played part. So it has a lot of that adventure element that we're so used to from movies of the 80s, like The Goonies and everything. And the intrigue that comes from solving these puzzles in this treasure hunt is what always excites us in this Indiana Jones. And also, we know that Indiana Jones, although he's an archaeologist, he has that unique character. I mean, he's an archaeologist. He's not James Bond. But yet, he always manages to slip out of all this trouble with his whip and everything. And that was the whole appeal of Indiana Jones. But with this movie, in short, I have to say that they lose all that magic. Like you said, it touches all the bases. But the problem is, instead of focusing on the treasure hunt, it focuses more on like the after retirement life of Indiana Jones himself.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm not really interested in that. I mean, that worked with Logan, which in fact James Mangold, I think, directed. The director of this movie.
By the way, he's a great director.
Yeah. I mean, he's a great Ford versus Ferrari. And it worked with Logan because the story of Logan itself was like Wolverine being on the verge of becoming obsolete. But with Indiana Jones, it's a different story. Indiana Jones did not have any superpowers. I mean, he's an archaeologist. So even with his old body and mind, he can still manage to do the treasure hunt and everything. But the fact that they focus on his like personal side, I think it wasn't really necessary. They should have just gone with with the previous formula, and just like what they did with the Crystal Skull, the fourth Indiana Jones installment. That's what they should have done. And that actually would have been more entertaining. And I think that would have paid more tribute to Harrison Ford and the franchise. That's what I think.
Yeah. It definitely gave me the syndrome where all the main characters are dead and then there's like an appendage at the end. And this movie felt like an appendage.
Yeah.
Not like a finale. Like for me, the finale was already 2 movies before. I didn't even like the one before this one, by the way. But I thought that one was better.
Yeah.
Because but this one, and you know what I respect about The Last Jedi though, like that director's genius, by the way. They tried something new.
Oh, you mean J.J. Abrams?
No, not J.J. Abrams. The guy who did Last Jedi director is different.
Oh, and then J.J. Abrams had to come back to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Okay. I forgot the name of the director, though.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think that's the 8th Star Wars episode.
Yeah, I'm talking about that. At least fail spectacularly. You know what I mean? But failure is like an opinion, so I don't think... Some people might like it, actually. But here, it's like a fucking redux. Man, fuck this movie, man. Like, listen, like, this is a great TV. Listen,
maybe that should have been the title. Fuck this movie.
No, because I didn't want to be unfair because, like, that's how I feel. But I felt like it was a great TV movie, though. Like, where,
that's
how, like...
a great point.
I don't know if people still do this, but you know how you just turn through the channels? Listen, if you did not watch this movie from start to finish, I think you might have liked it. Because you can put your imagination in, right?
Yeah.
Like if you start off like the hour and 30-minute mark, you're like, wow, these guys must have like compelling whatever. But no, man, fuck this movie. Yo, so you know what? We're gonna move on to something better to talk because if I continue this, all I'm gonna do is knock this movie. So I don't want to do that because that's a little bit unfair. It's okay. If you want to kill time, watch this movie. So let's give a number grade, brother.
Well, before that, we have to talk about the Dial of Destiny thing.
Because we want to.
I mean, and my take on the villain, Mads Mikkelsen, wasted in this movie, but we also have to remember that villains in previous Indiana Jones, they're not really complicated characters.
You're right.
They're straight up cardboard characters. And they were usually very evil and sinister. And with this movie, that's what they should have done.
No, but I want to say this, though. Like, there's a way of playing an interesting villain without giving the backstory. Like, mannerism, body language. I'm not knocking Mikkelsen. I think he was just given very little to work with.
I mean, Raiders of the Lost Ark, the first Indiana Jones, remember the villain, the Nazi guy with the glasses? He gets his hand burnt?
Yeah.
And every time he shows up, he has that creepy smile and everything?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what we needed.
No, because even in Casino Royale, remember, he has
a scar on his eye.
Yeah, and he has a habit of, like, crying blood. Listen, like, you don't have to be, like, fascinating and tell me a human story, but you got to have, like, this almost cartoon-like quality to
That's
you.
right.
But this one I just fell flat. I know exactly what you're saying. But I hated the henchmen too. Like, cause those dudes are really, one guy is a famous, like, a wrestler, another guy is a good actor. He's good at playing villains.
We saw him from that Marvel thing. What was it? What was it? DC? The person who architects dreams and stuff?
Yeah.
He was the Corinthian. He played the Corinthian in that movie.
Yeah, but for instance, I love Dave Bautista in
Spectre.
Spectre. You know why? Because he was presented really well. Where we know this is like make believe, but also James Bond had this Bourne Identity quality, like the new one, and his physicality was like terrifying.
Yeah, and the way he was introduced. So, what are your credentials? Snap.
Yeah, exactly. Those things. Of course, we don't know who the fuck he is, but he here. The problem was, like, we've all seen this before.
Yeah.
And it wasn't presented in a new way. That's what I say. That's what I mean when I say presentation. So fuck this movie, man.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? You know what makes me more furious? Like, because Won-Jin and I was supposed to talk about this last week. But But he didn't watch it. And if it was a good movie, I would have said, "Oh, great for you, savor it." But I was just like, "Motherfucker!" I wasted 2 hours and 20 minutes that I could have slept because I thought like, "Oh shit, we're just gonna watch this, so we have to talk about this." But honestly, when it ended, I was like, "Trash! Fuck this movie." I didn't even give a fuck about that, like, because who's that Harrison Ford's wife? That actor?
Oh, Marion.
Yeah, that was supposed to be a brilliant, like, beautiful scene. I was like, "Fuck this! Hurry up!" And I didn't even like that woman. She's a great actor too, but her role where I mean, okay. Here's something though. I did like. I feel like they were trying to make her like the new like Indiana Jones.
Okay, that could also make sense.
I feel like her and the kid. I think the studio thought like this. Let's say goodbye to Harrison Ford and think of a way to continue this franchise. And then that's why they brought up her and that boy. And I don't mind that, but like, listen, like, I have a thing, like, why not just make a new franchise then? Why did you got to bring Harrison Ford? I know why. So this is a stupid question because of the brand thing. Because we know the brand, so we'll be back. But listen, like, I wouldn't mind a woman actor that is like Indiana Jones but updated for the 21st century.
Yeah. Oh, don't we already have that? Lara Croft, Tomb Raider.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, we already have that.
And honestly, you know, here's the thing though. I think this one, I want your opinion on this. I think this is because I'm like an adult. I wish like she shot that mafia dude in the head. I was just like, it's hard to describe, but there's a certain way Disney movies can like hint at violence, like the way we look at children's stories.
Yeah.
You know? And I like that. But here, I thought they did a poor job. I was just like, just shoot that motherfucker in the head. Fucking headshot that motherfucker. Explode that watermelon. I can't stand that motherfucker. You're a mafia boss. And somehow this is... You know how like in like Disney movies, the knife always misses you? And there's no limb cut? I was just like, shoot that motherfucker in the head. Like, it was presented in a way where I was just like... Because I hated the beginning action scene on the train.
I think it was like an homage to the third Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I know.
Where the young Indiana Jones goes over the zoo train and stuff. I think that was the whole point of it.
And you know, like, let me tell you something. I don't know if this is because I'm an adult, but man, Indiana Jones do some horrific violence. Those dudes did not die happy. Like those dudes that fall off a train.
If you think about the old Indiana Jones movies and you watch them again after you grow up, he's not an archaeologist. Yeah. He's a murderer.
He's a mass murderer.
He's a thief. Basically, yeah, he is a thief. He's stealing all these artifacts. Anyways.
See, this is the reason why we wanted a rated R Star Wars. I just, you know, like you mentioned Logan. I truly feel like one of the reasons why Logan is adored is because of the violence, too. Because it crosses that line where, you know, because when we watch X-Men, the original by Singer, like we're like, wow, this is all happy cartoon violence. And then Logan just from the very start
gets shot with a shotgun.
Yeah, you see straight murder. Like I feel like, you know, we are just more, you know, we live in a cynical age, so we don't dream in dreamy fantasies. You know that? If you're gonna do a fucking beautiful job, like Avatar.
Yeah,
I think James Cameron is so good at the totality. Like his vision is so complete that we decide to believe it. Because if you think about it, it's like a Disney movie. It's like and then there are death, of course. Oh, here another problem I had was like nothing was at stake. I say this again, like maybe the woman should have been dead. That goddaughter, that would have made it more interesting. But here, you just know that nothing is ever. You know what? Fuck this movie. Let's give it a number grade. I'm so sorry.
But just before we give the number grade, I also have to say the Dial of Destiny had to be used earlier in the movie, not just in the end. Right, yeah, that was kind of a waste because that's a huge. It gives huge impact.
But give some credit. I did like when they time jump and the Romans are trying to attack Syracuse. I like that actually. I just fuck this movie, man. Let's give it a number grade. I don't. If you have more, you can.
You know, I would give the movie like.
Sorry to cut you. I give it a 3 Fuck this movie.
Okay, I would give it a 5 still.
5.
I would still give it a 5, considering that it's Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
And for the love of the franchise.
Yeah, you know what? My disappointment is not objective because I think I had high expectations. When Won-Jin suggested watching this, I was like, yeah, Indiana Jones. Because we love the third one, and you know,
the one with Sean Connery.
Oh fuck yeah,
that was brilliant.
But 3, 5, so an average of 4. Okay, guys, we're gonna be back in like 5 minutes. Fuck this movie.
We're gonna come back with something more interesting.
I'm so sorry. Fuck this movie, but finale. We're gonna talk about the finale of The Moving, the Disney Plus drama.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. To our loyal subscribers, I would say don't watch this movie. Fuck you. Anyway, I'm saying fuck you to the movie. Okay, and we'll be back. Thank you so much. This has been Jojo Movie So Awesome. I was Joe.
I was Won-Jin.
See you soon.
Be right back.
Yeah. Man, fuck this movie. Fuck the CG department. They were trying to like. I bet my bottom dollar that they were trying to strike.